in the way you'd throw an emoji at the screen or not like you.
You're listening to Parasearch UK Radio. News, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. Parasearch UK Radio.
The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch UK Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
It's Monday evening, and you're listening to Jo and Gemma on the Supernaturalle Show.
Welcome to the Supernaturalle Show. Myself, Jo Lockwood, and we've got the Gemma Drury. He's not great tonight, are you?
I'm dying.
Oh, yeah, you're dying. You're not that bad.
I'm going to visit you all in spirit.
I think that's what we need, to be fair, though, don't we? So, what's your week had? What's happened week then? I've not really spoken to you this week.
No, it's been a quiet week, Jo. What's going on?
I know. We're usually like here, there, and everywhere, aren't we? So it's usually the case is like we need to catch up, don't we? So what better than a Monday night radio show, eh?
Exactly. No place to do it.
Oh, dear.
So, my week's. Well, I've not really done much actually, to be honest. Literally.
You had done some.
No, honestly, I really haven't. We did the pop-up show on Friday night. But other than that, I've done nothing. I've been suffering.
So we spoke about your birthday last week, and you must have had a great one for that. And Mr. Nick Stepani stopping by and singing happy birthday.
Yes, spoilt rotten I was.
And the lovely Vicky Grant as well from Dead Central blog. She came on and she talked about some of the stuff. And oh my goodness, did you see her racy post on her new blog this week?
No. What have I missed?
Oh, you've missed I don't know whether we can say it on air, but she took a picture on her full spectrum camera and she uncovered what looks like to be the male genitalia in mist.
Really?
Yeah. So that obviously was quite an interesting read, but you have to look at that. So for any of you listening out there, you want to head over to the Dental blog, you can actually catch those pictures online. So it is.
I think I might have to head over and have a look. I appear to have missed it.
And I was about to say, I'm surprised you weren't all over that.
I've not been feeling very well at all, so I really have just been feeling sorry for myself. That there's no other way to say it.
Oh, bless you. So, how are you feeling now, though? You're on there, so you must be, well, I know you're not right, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm on antibiotics and got ear drops. I've got an ear infection, so...
Oh, God.
So I've gone a little bit deaf as well, so I am not ignoring anybody. If anybody is, like, talking to me and I'm not hearing them, I'm so sorry.
Say that again.
Can you hear me? Jo, stop it. I've had so many issues on the radio.
Oh, it's so funny though. What did you say again? I think I missed that.
Honestly, shocking.
I know, isn't it? So yeah, well, so we have no guests tonight. They've pulled out again at the last minute. So we're just, we need to kind of find some guests that we can kind of have on the show. And, if anybody listening to us on the show, just, give us a shout.
A message. Yeah.
Exactly.
Don't bite.
Well, I'll say that. I've eaten already tonight. That's not too bad.
So you're not hungry tonight?
No, I'm not biting tonight. But yeah, we are going to be discussing about parent company and just how difficult and how easy it is for people to be set up these companies, but also the pitfalls that, you know, small companies like ours kind of face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
there's a lot of people coming into the field and think you can open up a power events company like Lonely and the world's all pretty and rosy and sparkly and covered in unicorn trumps. But unfortunately, that's not the way it goes. And I just think, you know, would it do any harm to discuss that?
To be honest, I think it will open a few people's eyes, because I know going in a small private paranormal team and having venue quite cheap for private investigations, to then opening up to public events and host guests and things like that. I don't think people actually realise just how difficult it is just to host people on events.
Exactly. You opened up Phantasmic, and as you said, you know, that was for private originally.
Yeah.
I had Afterlife Encounters that were always for public events. So, you know, we both see things slightly differently from the start.
Yeah. So, like with Phantasmic, I think I kind of got bored of going and paying to go on people's and having the same thing, very structured, very boring. And I hate that, but I was absolutely bored to tears on some events. And, you know, it's like, in this day and age, when people are hungry for information and they want to find the evidence, you're not just going to find it through glass divination people can push. You're not going to find it through table tipping, and you're not going to find it through spirit board communication. I'm now, I don't know what you, Jem, but I'm of the air. I need hard, concrete evidence.
Massively. I think you have to be realistic on that one as well. Are you always going to get it?
Yeah,
I mean, you should stop looking. Absolutely not.
No, because that's not a paranormal investigator, isn't it? You know, how many times have we gone to a venue and we're like, it's so quiet and it's so flat going on? You know, we've come away from venues feeling quite deflated, and then we've come away from, not just for argument's sake, 30 East Drive, the last event that we did there was absolutely null. We had so much activity, and it was really strange. But for the past, like, 3 investigations that we did there, it was flat, wasn't it?
Very much so, yeah. I mean, that's the nature of the game, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're not always going to have activity.
No, and it's like anything, isn't it? As a para investigator, a venue for 4-6 hours on the evening and having, but yet you try and entice that activity to happen. It's just sometimes it's not going to work, is it?
No. On the rare occasion, you know, you literally just have to.
Yeah. So obviously you had Afterlife Encounter. It was always going to be a public company. So what pitfalls did you, well, actually, no, because obviously you've worked for quite a well-known group.
Yeah, I worked previously doing exactly the same. I'm wondering for the 10, 11 years that I went off exploring or going with the companies, I done public events. Very rarely had I done private events.
Yeah.
So I started working with a well-known team. For this radio show, we shall just call them those who shall not be named. So I was working with those who shall not be named. And well, there's no polite way to say it, really. I got sick of seeing people being taken advantage of. So I thought, do you know what? I can do that. So I did. I literally did. I started from scratch. Set up logos, spoke to insurance companies, found out everything I needed to know about being a public events company. I spent hours and hours and hours researching, speaking to people. The initial start-up of just your basic information you need to know took me weeks.
Yeah, and also, you know, how do you feel? Obviously, with running any sort of a business, you've got like startup costs, haven't you? And,
massively.
You know, you've got a website you need to build, you've got insurance that you kind of need to make sure you've got in place so that you can do your risk assessments on buildings. Then you have got the venue owners, haven't you? So, you know.
Exactly. This is where I was quite lucky because I already had connections. So I already knew people with locations that were for hire.
Were those venues though? Were they out of your price range, or were they within your price range?
No,
Even
you
though
see,
being a small company,
because I'd worked for those who shall not be named, I knew that the cost, because I did a lot of this work already for those who shall not be named. So I did guest lists, I did recce's on investigations or possible investigations. I pretty much did a lot of what I already needed to do. So I literally said, I'm starting small. No more than 10 guests. Let's keep it realistic. Let's keep it affordable, and let's stick to a budget. So I would not go over £500 location hire cost, which automatically, even in the whole of the UK, wipes out a good 75% of locations.
yeah. Well, we've come up against this, haven't we, over and over again, and we've had, very disorganized venues, haven't we, of late?
Massively, yeah, massively. I mean, we've had to cancel a few events now because of locations, which makes us, the organisers, look disorganised, which isn't the case at all.
Yeah, we had one venue basically confirm a booking for us, didn't they? And then come back to us and say, oh, unfortunately, we've double booked you for this night. Can you do another night? So we changed that night, didn't we? And then we had yet another one saying, oh, unfortunately, we can't give you that date. And it's like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, unfortunately, this is the weird and wonderful world of paranormal investigations, isn't it?
Yeah, I think there's, I don't know. What is your take on it, though, Gem? With venues that are going to do that to small companies like ours.
You see, my problem is, well, it's not necessarily my problem. It's most small paranormal investigation teams' problems. But when you have big teams that can afford to book in advance for the full year, even one investigation a month, that is already taking away the high demand.
Yeah, I mean, there are companies out there that can block book, can't they? Like 10, 15 dates, and then that's it. All of the Saturdays have all gone. Then you get like the Thursdays, the Sundays, the Fridays. Everything usually just gets pretty booked up, pretty sharpish.
And the companies that can block bookings tend to get first serve. So when the new diary comes out for the new year, you'll find that the location manager will automatically go to those people and say, do you want any? Do you want any dates for next year? And not everybody can afford to do that.
No, I think, though, anyway, I think it's, I don't know about you, but when you sign up to these companies and you're asking for confirmation, and you have to go through everything, what your team's called, what the contact numbers are, this, that, and the other.
You've sent off your insurance, you've paid your deposit.
Yeah, you've sent all that off. You've paid your deposit. You've done everything, and then just to be let down.
Yeah,
that is horrendous, isn't it? Especially for us who, we work on no more than 15, obviously, because we've got quite a decent team, haven't we, at the minute? So, we don't usually have any more than 15 on our events, which 15
I don't think
quite a
you
healthy
need.
number.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think you need masses of people. Like, going back to those who shall not be named, when I worked with them, there was one night that will always stick with me forever, where we had in excess of 120 guests.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, don't get me wrong, we had a massive staff team as well. There was enough staff team to cover the guests, but it's for money. It's not for proof of the paranormal. It's not for investigation. It is purely for money. And that doesn't sit well with me, because people are paying hard-earned cash to spend a night with people that are well known in the paranormal industry. And I don't think that they've got any justice in spending stupid amounts of money to get no time with said people and to learn nothing about the paranormal.
Yeah. I think it is difficult though, isn't it? I mean, like, you kind of, you went, I don't know about you, but obviously when I first started going on, you know, organised public events years and years and years ago, and I'm talking a good 10, 15 years ago now, you know, I got to the point where you turn up and it was like you didn't feel welcome.
Well, no, because it's more a military camp.
Yeah, and then, you know,
we start at this time, we have break at that time, we go back at this time, we stop again for a break at this time, and then if you're lucky, you get free time.
Yeah. That's not the way to do things, is it, these days?
Well, I personally don't think it is. I mean, don't get me wrong, if you've got no activity at all, you've been sat in a room for 2 hours, then by all means, let's just go for a coffee. It's cold. Let's have a rest, you know, let's regroup. Let's make a plan of action, you know, how are we going to go into this location? What do people already know about this location? Is there anything that may trigger off activity? And I think a lot of times that can get missed.
Yeah, and I think a lot of groups these days kind of get more involved in the whole trying to please people, don't they, rather than actually, you know, going out of their way to kind of think outside the box and just say to people, right, we're going to investigate in here. If we're not going to get anything, let's try something else. You know, some people who work for these groups are so scared to actually go off the beaten track with the experiments that, you know,
it's always the same experiments, always. Let's get a K2 out, let's pop it on the floor, let's ask some questions, and if we can get a flash in, then great. But have they done a baseline test?
No.
A lot don't, unfortunately. I mean, you've got things like old sofas with wood in the arms can set K2s off because there's bits of metal in there too.
Yeah.
And I've proven it so many times, it's unreal, you know. So it's about knowing your equipment, it's about doing a baseline test, and a lot of people don't do it. You're just letting your guests down, that's all you're doing.
Yeah, I think it's like anything though, isn't it, with baseline testing. You've got to make sure you've got, you know, you've not got feedback from your spirit box or from anybody's phone on a night time. You've got to make sure that you've got no running water anywhere. You've got to make sure you've got no electricity cables and things like that hanging out of walls that can potentially set things off. And I mean,
exactly.
You know, we're always saying, we always bleat on our investigations. Can you make sure you turn your phone to flight mode? And then, lo and behold, you've got somebody who wants to do the Echo Vox.
Don't even get me started on that one. Let's not go there.
Can I hear Paul laughing in the background then? Yeah, but do you know what?
We have Paul Ruck joining us in the studio tonight, ladies and gents. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening.
So yeah, we just hear this
sniggering away. You've let yourself loose now, Paul.
Oh yeah, carry on. You're doing such a wonderful job.
But it is, isn't it? Though, you like, people are sitting there going, "Oh, we've got activity on the K2 meter," and you're like, you've just put your phone on to go on Echo Box. It's gonna have.
Absolutely. I'm not a very, very big fan of the K2 meter anyway. It's just a box with flashing lights on it. It does nothing for me.
What about Echo Box?
I've tried it once and no, it's rubbish. I can't get on with it at all.
Yeah, well, you see, I did when it first came out because, you know, it had been on a well-known TV show, so it was like, okay, I'm going to spend £20 downloading this. So I did, and I spent. Yeah, but you've got to do these things, haven't you? How can I say something if I believe something is credible or not if I don't know how it works? Yeah. I can't. I'm not a hypocrite, so I'm not going to do that. So I literally spent money, downloaded it, and then spent hours going through all the research that I could possibly find for it to find out that it's rubbish.
Yep.
Yeah.
controversial or what, I don't care. It's rubbish. It doesn't work. It spits words out every 3 seconds.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Ovulus either. That's another one that I don't
Well,
like.
the Ovulus, some Ovuluses, not all of them, because you can get some that are credible, but they have a dictionary mode, so they work in a similar way to the Echovox.
And you just
so
make
you've
the word
got your
spit,
phonons,
your location.
and it just spits them out. So no, you see, I'm with you on that, but
see, I'm going to disagree with you both on Ovulus 5 because I actually quite like that.
But the Ovulus 5, I could be wrong here actually. So by all means, jump in if I am wrong because I get confused with all the Ovuluses. But the Ovulus 5, isn't that the one that's got the atmospheric detector built in?
Yes, it's basically it uses the barometric pressure and things like that to be able to decipher words, apparently.
Right. So that is slightly different because it has contributing factors that can be argued to make it a credible form of evidence, whereas the Echovox hasn't.
No, it's the Echovox. I just don't think it's a great piece of equipment anyway. And there are so many apps, aren't they, out there on the iPhones and for Android. I can't even speak Android. And
is that because you don't use an Android that you can't say it?
Yeah, it is actually, to be honest. And it's like, I'm feeling a bit, I don't know, a little bit robotic talking about bloody Ovulus and what we actually find genuine to actually find good evidence. And I mean, like, I know a lot of people slate Echovox, and I'm not an avid fan of it. But there are some apps out there that you kind of think to yourself, is it something that it's just me, I just can't get along with it? Or is there, like there's the Alice box as well that I've actually got on my laptop. And, it's still an electronic device, isn't it? It can still be manipulated.
Yeah, exactly. Not every, but 97% of paranormal equipment can be manipulated.
Yeah.
For as long as there's human interaction with it, you have got that ability to, we'll just say tamper with it.
Yeah.
So when I go on investigations, I always go for the personal experience anyway. So it's very, very rare for anyone to see me with any equipment whatsoever. Because obviously when I run the events company side of things, I let the staff deal with the public, and off they go. And then I'll go and find somewhere quiet for me to sit somewhere else and have my personal experiences. And then I rotate
can't
with the
argue
groups.
with that. Yeah, because I quite often just end up wandering off on my own as well. It's not always intentional. Sometimes I will just feel like I need to move on or I need to be in another room. So I'll go and I'll see what it's like. And if I'm starting to get something, I'll say, guys, do you want to come here? This is what, or 9 times out of 10, I don't say this is what I've experienced, but I will say something along the lines of, I've had an experience in there. Why don't you go see what happens to you?
Well, that's it. That's what we do, because we like yourselves. We have a small amount of people going, so we'll end up having the public in 2 locations, but have a third one. I will go to the third one, have my personal experiences if anything happens, and then I rotate around with the other groups. So, at the end of the night, we sit down and have what we call like a debrief, and we go through each group and see if they experience the same thing I did or vice versa. It's almost like confirming and what actually happened.
Yeah.
And see if we all get the same stuff, which is quite good sometimes.
Well, we do something like that, don't we?
Yeah, we do. Well, I think you have to. I think every events company should discuss what's happened, because you quite often find that it's not just one person or one group of people that have experienced something, you'll usually find that the majority have.
We went to Shrewsbury Prison a week before.
The Dana.
Those that shouldn't be named. And we all three groups, including myself, all had the same experience. It was a shadow of a person in the segregation area, and I experienced it. It was almost like it kept peeking out of one of the doors. But another group said that it actually walked out the door and then walked back in. And another group was actually in one of the cells and it walked past the door. All in the same area, which is quite interesting because obviously same experience, just different.
Yeah, massively.
Things,
well,
really
that
good.
very same location, so at Shrewsbury Prison, I got, well, the only way I can describe it is locked in a cell. At the end of the night...
That was Gemma holding the door shut.
No, that is Gemma. I am Gemma.
Oh,
Okay. Get your staff names right, will you? Shocking. No, no. At the end of an investigation, I wasn't actually with Jo at this time.
Okay.
So at the end of an investigation, I'd been round, and Jo will tell you, I always do a last equipment check and a last location check. So I walk round, usually by myself, and make sure that the whole place is locked down and it's exactly as we found it. So that does involve going in every single room. Now, you've been to Shrewsbury Prison, Paul. You know how big it is.
Absolutely.
It's huge.
There's loads of rooms there.
Yeah, there is. Well, I went into a cell. The door wasn't open fully. And then I'm walking around the cell. I'm just having a look round. It's not obviously that big. It's a prison cell.
Yeah.
And the door's shut. And I was like, okay. No walkie-talkie, no phone. I was like, great, I'm going to be locked in a prison. This is wonderful. But, well, I managed to get out. So all's well that ends well, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't be here now to talk about it, would you, if you were still
Well, I'm
there?
sure I would, because I'd be haunting you all.
She got parole.
Well,
I got parole, yeah. I was let out for good behaviour.
yeah.
Doesn't happen often.
To be honest, I'm just in the chat room at the moment, and James Steele has said, do you think the time of year and the month affects investigations? What do you guys make of that?
Well, personally, for me, no.
No, I don't think it makes really any difference, does it really?
No, but we see James has gone on to ask another good question there. He said, do you think the size of investigative teams affect the location? Yes, I do.
Yes. Yeah, I think it does. The more people you have on an event, the more contamination that you are going to bring to that event, isn't it? So it's, that's why we always say to people, we don't have huge numbers. And we do get asked, don't we, on Facebook all the time?
Yeah.
How many people do you have?
Yeah.
Because,
that's a big one I get.
Yeah, a lot of people now are not wanting to go on these events with massive numbers. We're talking like Gemma said, 120 people on one event.
There was possibly even more than that. There could have been more for all I know. But yeah, there was definitely 120 plus.
That's horrendous.
So I can see it from both point of views, because if you've got a huge amount of people, that's a lot of energy to give out.
It's a lot of energy, but
it could build up the energy, but it does take away the personal experience that a lot of people want on these events.
And then you've got to think that the noise contamination, noise and I've been there, I've done that. So this is from experience. The noise is horrific. I was in a downstairs room, and there was people running up and down the stairs. So the noise was horrific. There was people screaming. The contamination is just horrific.
Yeah, but then you'd expect, though, when stuff like that's happening, you would expect that team leader or that, the 2 people or 3 people or whatever, to actually say to them, we do have other guests in other parts of the building. Can you kindly respect those other people and keep the noise to a minimum?
You would think so, but that doesn't always happen.
No, because, we all know, don't we? That,
especially when there's celebrities, And yes, I am using air quotes because people at home can't see me. But when the celebrities in the building, people tend to get a little bit starstruck, shall we say. And that sends people all giddy and high-pitched and squealy and personally, that's not me. I don't do that. I'm just like, oh, hi.
Yeah, I don't think it's
want a brew.
Kind of necessary, is it really? It's like, oh, all right then, hi.
Exactly. But because people do tend to get quite, what's the word I'm after? Quite giddy. We'll go with giddy.
Yeah, that works.
That has a knock-on effect. And then the contamination from that is horrific. And then trying to get people just to calm down.
Oh, it's a nightmare, isn't it?
Oh, massively. Nathan Clark from the Paranormal Detectives is in the chat room. Hi, Nathan. He said he gets sick of seeing people use spirit box, but telling them what to say, so they're implanting words into people's heads. It's a great device if used properly. I completely agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, you can ask a spirit box, you can sit there and ask it questions and say, what have I got in my hand? And
but that's credible.
Okay, spirit box.
Yeah.
That's credible, but you're not sitting there saying, hello there, spirits. Can you tell me that there's 10 people in this room? How many people are in this room? 1, 2, 3. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's just and then when you hear a noise come through, people are so quick to jump on the bandwagon. I completely agree with what Nathan's saying. People do jump on the bandwagon and they're instantly like, oh, that just said 10.
Yeah.
So it's sometimes I find it better if... Go on, carry on.
No, don't you just love it when you get the word devil through on an ovulus, or you get something like that through, and everybody's like, oh my God, it must be evil. And it's like, well, why is it going to say something like that? We need to kind of investigate why it's saying that.
Exactly, but that's where the education part of any ghost hunt comes into play, isn't it? That's when I would then say to my guests, what makes you think that?
Yeah, exactly.
Could it not be something like this or that? And then people's mind frames start to change. They're like, oh,
maybe, just maybe.
Yeah, and that's where the difference lies.
So
I think in this.
Go on, Paul.
Okay, with the way we run the events, our staff are trained to do the experiments a specific way. So we'll say to the guests, what experiments do you want to do? This is what's available. What do you want to do? Because it's basically their night. They pay to be there. We're at their disposal. But when it comes to the ghost box, the spirit box, we've actually got a sheet of paper with set questions on it and an answer box. So we'll give out the sheets of paper. We'll ask the questions, and if you hear something, you write your answer in that little box, and then we compare at the end whether or not people heard the same thing.
I really like that. And how often do you find people saying the same thing?
Oh, we do. We get it quite a lot, actually. It's very interesting. I mean, I personally can't hear anything from them most of the time, unless it's absolutely really clear.
Yeah, I think on the spirit box anyway, I think unless you are attuned to listening to it and understanding how it actually speaks, then you do miss things. There's numerous times when I've actually sat there and said, what did that say? And, we don't hear everything in real time. So we record everything to go back over and have a listen to it. And it's, it's only when you start to have a look at snippets of recordings and things like that you can actually sit there and go, oh my goodness, he was answering the question.
Yeah.
Like I remember being at Ruthin Jail and I was sat there talking to another guest and you can quite clearly hear it. And I said, oh, my camera's not working. And I said, I can't get the flash to work. Why isn't it working? And you hear somebody, actually a male, say, because of me. And it was like, what did you say? Because of me? And it was like, okay then. So, yeah, it is good. But like you say, you know, at the start of an investigation, we give our guests a clipboard, and we send them off in twos, and we ask them to find out where they feel, use their sixth sense, where they feel that there could be potential activity. And 9 times out of 10, Gemma, we usually capture that, don't we?
Yeah.
People usually come back and say that.
Yeah, because a lot of people come in and they're like, I've never done this, I don't really understand it. And I'm pretty much like you, Paul. I think you should always trust your own judgment. Your body's finely tuned. Your body knows when something's not quite right. Your body will automatically pick up on changes of EMF. That is just natural. That's just science. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, the first time I did that with you, Jo, you was quite surprised, wasn't you? You was like, oh, that actually works.
Yeah, definitely. I was a bit skeptical to start off with at first, and it was like, okay then.
But you see, that's what I love doing. I love thinking up of new ideas and new experiments that we can throw people into. But that sounds awful. That sounds like we just throw them in and that we're not prepared to do it. But no experiment we ever put out there is something that we've not tried ourselves.
So I've got an experiment I want to do with the Ouija board. And I've just got all the equipment I need for the board. So as soon as I go out and do my next event, we're going to conduct that experiment.
You see, I had a really good idea with a Ouija board. But a lot more in depth than just a Ouija board. And I am dying to do that one. Do you remember that, Jo, when we was with the girls on our early day out?
Yeah. I think that'll be good at a location that is, you know, outdoors, that has never ever been never been heavily investigated. I want to see what happens outside rather than inside a building.
You see, I think I'm quite happy to go with it wherever. I think that it's a very good experiment. It was already a good experiment that just needs, that could just do with a little bit of tweaking. So my idea for anybody listening was, but then if I say it and somebody else does it, I'll be gutted.
Yeah.
So I'm not going there. But it's a really, really good experiment that really needs to be tried. But I just need quite a few people to do it with. And I need non-believers, I need believers, and I need mediums.
Well, what you need to do is come down to my next event in Chatham and do it there.
When's this then, Paul?
I think it's in April, 20th of April, I think, off the top of my head.
We'll have to get booked on, Gem.
Yeah.
Fort Amherst. And I've also booked the Gatehouse to go with the event.
Have you really?
And not many teams have done it.
I've never been in the Gatehouse, ever.
There you go. I've been there once, and it is really active.
I think it's safe to say, Paul, I will definitely be there.
Awesome.
Well, that makes 2 of us, won't it? Because, I'll be there.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. So bring the Ouija board experiment there.
Well, definitely. Do you have a lot of mediums, Paul?
We've got 2 on the team, but we don't ask them to do any mediumship whatsoever.
Could that be changed for one night and one night only?
Yeah,
I don't want them to say anything out loud to anybody but themselves until after the initial experiment is finished.
I'm sure that can be arranged.
Oh, I'm so excited.
There you go. Exclusive. We'll send out the link later for anyone who wants tickets.
I think if we try it, because we've arranged this on Parasearch, I think we should go live and do the whole thing on Parasearch Facebook page.
That sounds good to me. We could do that as well.
And then we can get the other girls in on it as well.
That'd be good.
Oh, I love it when a plan comes together.
I was just sat there thinking to myself, I'm quite liking this Gatehouse, actually.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it's a
I
good
mean,
location.
it's like, most paranormal teams don't actually have a medium, do they, who attend their events? And to be perfectly honest, I mean, like when we go on our events, Gemma, me and you tend to do a recce, don't we, round the venue to start off with. And,
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, and I'll say to you, I'll just be talking gibberish and blah, blah, blah into you like usual. And, some of the stuff and some of the stuff I sit there and is that right? I don't know. But I had a really experience yesterday. Not yesterday, Friday, with one of my customers at work. And we were just chatting away. And bearing in mind, this guy has basically avoided me like the plague for nearly 6 months and managed to meet him with him. And I said to him, what are you doing this weekend? And he said, my daughter gets married next year. And I was like, oh, that's nice. And he was like, so I'm going to be trying to do some baking. I went, oh, she get married on the 9th of October. And his face dropped. He just looked at me and he was like, and I went, oh, no, it's not the 19th, is it? I said, this person who's related to Claire said, no, it's not. And you know what? How weird is this? He rang me today and he was flabbergasted. And he said to me, I Googled you over the weekend, and I was laughing.
Well, that's just rude.
I was sat there thinking, oh my God, and I'm laughing in work thinking, oh my goodness. This guy who's avoided me like the plague is now phoning me, telling me he's been Googling the company, been Googling, Facebook and having a look at the live streams, and then goes into more detail by telling me his wife was actually called Claire. And their daughter was going to get married on the 19th of October, but brought it forward a week to the 12th because Claire's father passed away on the 19th.
Really?
Yes. How weird is that, though? 365 days in a year, and I come out with this specific date. Now, you can't get that, can you? Well, obviously you can, but it's...
Wow.
I sit there and think, how do I know? And he did actually say to me today, he was like, how do you do that, Jo? And I was like, well, I don't know. But do you know what he called me? Jolene.
Oh.
And
I
was
wasn't
like,
a Sunday either.
And I didn't do anything wrong either. So that was like, he obviously meant business when he called me that, didn't he?
Obviously. You're naughty.
But no, like we usually say, like mediums at group events, there isn't usually a medium, is there?
No, a lot of companies don't. I mean, personally, I didn't either.
I don't think you need them, though.
When I had Afterlife Encounters, I didn't use a medium for the simple reason it wasn't a mediumship. It wasn't a spiritualist team. It was scientific.
Mm-hmm.
So it would have been difficult to incorporate a medium into that.
That's what we do. We tend to do the scientific stuff, but then at the end of the night, at the beginning of the event, we have our medium walk around the location on her own. She writes down stuff in her book and then locks it up because she's got a little padlock to go on it, and that doesn't get open until the end of the night. So when they're talking,
we like padlocks, don't we, Gemma?
Yeah. Well,
what you do in your own personal time is you.
No, it's nothing like that, Paul. Actually, you'd actually love some of our experiments, wouldn't he, Gemma?
Mickey York, bless him, he came to join us for a night, didn't he? When you first came to the Ram, he came, bless him. He thought he was just going to have a nice little investigation. He was blindfolded, handcuffed, tied to a bed in the bishop's room with EMF pumps scattered all around him, infrasound pounding into the room. And just to top it off, I threw in a demonic chant.
Okay. Yeah. Very nice.
Happy days.
I don't think Mickey's slept well, has he, since then?
And poor Mickey, bless him.
But yeah, we do have some weird and wonderful experiments, though, don't we? We try and, I know we always say fear is a massive factor in any paranormal investigation, but, for people who've never been alone in a room with, no sight and handcuffed, that just heightens the fear factor even more, doesn't it? And
Yeah.
they hear more stuff. And, we've had some fantastic results, like Ian as well, Ian Twining and his daughter, Natasha. they came on one of our events, didn't they? And we
become
locked
part of the family now.
I know, but we were at the Mill Street Barracks, weren't we? We locked. What was her boyfriend called? I can't remember his name. But we handcuffed her boyfriend to the chair, didn't we? And we left him in that
around
room.
a pole.
This sounds really wrong, doesn't
the
it?
The poor man, he couldn't move.
Yeah, but we did get some awesome results from there, didn't we?
I bet you enjoyed it.
We had the 360 night vision cam in there as well, didn't we? So the whole time he was chained up, we had the 360 cam going, so we could see and hear everything that was going on, and we was literally just outside. So anybody listening that's thinking of joining us and then hears that and thinks, hell no. Honestly, we're not far away. We're not evil. But the fear factor can induce so much activity.
It's great because the fear produces that much adrenaline, doesn't it? That they feed off it. And it's more like a conductor, isn't it?
Exactly.
Makes the mind a race, doesn't it?
Yeah, and how many people have you... I know this sounds really weird, Paul, but you run events anyway, but how many people have you deliberately gone out of your way to take somebody out of their comfort zone?
All the time. You're just constantly pushing the boundaries.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you have to.
You do. And also, I mean, most of the people that come on our events, they want the personal experiences and stuff, and that's what we try and give them. And if they don't get anything that night, at least they've had a good laugh, good time, enjoyed it, and taken it out of their comfort zone. And it's
and you've opened up the minds to the possibility.
Exactly, and then they will come again. Yeah.
And I think that's, as a paranormal investigator, as an events company, that's what you should be doing. You should be trying to learn people.
Yeah.
To encourage people. To show that it's not all unicorns, Sometimes it is literally just sitting in a dark room for hours on end and getting nothing.
Yeah. Very much so.
So
Joe, what was you going to say?
I was just, I was sat here thinking to myself, and I was going to say...
Oh, easy there, Tiger.
Can you hear the cogs going? I'm surprised you can't hear them grind. They've not been worked today anyway, so...
Well, every time I thought, I would have said you could see steam coming out my ears, but since one's really bad, it's only one-sided.
Oh, dear. So, Paul, what have you done to kind of push people out of their boundaries?
Well, especially in Shrewsbury Prison, we sort of done like a role play exercise, and it was almost like the staff that we had.
Please tell me it was in the hanging room.
No, we basically locked everyone in the cells and treated them very much like the prisoners. That was quite interesting, and we got some responses from like what we assume were the prison guards. Through what we've done.
What sort of things did you get? I'm so nosy, aren't I?
Oh, we got footsteps of the in the main corridor. There was one instance where we'd on our radio handset we'd pretend to call up for assistance, like urgent assistance required in whatever room. We had doors slamming. It was just amazing. All the stuff we got is fantastic. Footsteps,
yeah, you see, I love doing
shadow
stuff like
people. That. Oh, it was just so full of activity. It's wonderful. The hanging room, we didn't really get anything at all.
Did you not?
No.
Go on, what were you saying, Gemma?
I was just going to ask you what you've done, Jo. What experiments you've tried and results you've had.
To be fair, I leave the experiments up to you because you come up with some zany, wacky things. I just sit there and think she cannot be serious. But do you know what? Yeah, I do actually think that. And I think the last one at the Ancient Ram with Mort, and just like tying her up and demonic chants and everything else. I'm like, you can't be serious, not in that room. And it's like,
why not?
I know, but do you know when you I think because I'm of the essence of, I know, it's weird, I know what's in there, and I know when it's the negativity and that sort of side of things. I'm still quite a scaredy cat sometimes.
I went to the Ancient Ram Inn, and I ended up having. We opened up a Ouija board. The team that we was with had never done the board before, so they wanted to experience that, and I ended up having an argument with the spirit.
Yeah, you see, I've had some crazy stuff happen at the Ancient Ram. I do love that place.
It's definitely an interesting location, absolutely.
See, I've not been back since John passed away, so I would love to go back since John's passed away to see if there's any change.
Yeah. So I think I went there just before he passed.
I mean, one of the scariest, and it was truly terrifying, and pushing the boundaries of health and safety as well, I might add. Was in Hellfire Caves. Now, I take it you've both been to Hellfire.
I've not been, no. I've not done it. Never been.
Okay. Jo, have you been?
I've never been to the Hellfire Caves.
So you're really not going to understand a word I'm saying. But anybody that's listening might. So I made people, Only the Brave, and it was called Only the Brave. So I stuck on the walls at the three main points, a whiteboard onto the wall with a pen. And I took phones off people, I took torches off people, took all equipment off people, and this was Only the Brave, trust your own senses. And I sent people in with a candle to get as far as they possibly could to the inner temple and back.
That's quite
and
good.
They was literally alone in the caves. They did have a walkie-talkie, so if at any point they was scared, they could just radio and say, "Come get me," and I'd have been there in a flash. But the outcome of that was amazing. And it sounds wacky, it sounds weird, it sounds very, very unsafe. I wouldn't recommend anybody to do that, obviously. The people that I had to do it was people that had been on my events for years, so I know them really well and I know what they're capable of. I wouldn't have made somebody do that was a first timer to paranormal investigating, but there was literally 2 of us that made it to the end and back.
I'd say some of my staff went to the Hellfire Caves with another events company, and they said they're never going to do it again with them. They basically they got to a certain point, and then they said that to incite spirit activity, they were going to sing some songs. Which, okay, yeah, fair enough. There are teams out there that like to sing songs of the era and try and get
quite
activity.
often say sing a song.
Oh no, not these songs. They were singing things like "Let It Go" from
Oh,
the
Let
Disney's.
It Go.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one. And
The cold never bothered me anyway.
I was like,
Liar.
why?
Yes, it
Why
does.
do
You
that?
don't like it. Yeah, not a clue. Not a clue.
No, exactly. It's like, why? I mean,
Like, don't
no
get me
sense in
wrong,
it.
it's a long way to Tipperary or something, you know, some war songs in an army base or something.
Exactly. That's the
play.
sort of thing I thought they were going to go with, but no, Let It Go.
They sang Frozen.
Yeah.
Did anybody inquire as to why?
No, I think they were too busy laughing, I think.
Well, you see, I get where they're coming from. I once went on an investigation, and the company, the leaders had us stood rubbing our thighs, conducting energy for about 45 minutes. The only thing it conducted was blisters on my hands.
Yeah.
And friction burns, you know.
I done an event, again, it was with one of these top high-level paranormal groups.
Paul, if it's mine, I'm going to slap you.
No,
I'm
it
joking.
wasn't. No. And they got you all in a circle, and they were like, "No, you need to hum." And you had to stand.
Yes, I've done that before.
Do you know what? I've seen Gemma sat in a corner of a room going,
Yeah.
rubbing her
And he
thighs.
said-
That is embarrassing.
And then at the end of it, he was like, there was no reason for me to do that. I just thought it'd be a laugh. Well, okay.
Honestly, Paul, we need to have a chat off air just to see if it was the same company. I
Okay.
bet you it was.
More than likely.
Oh, good God. But you see, this is it, and each to their own.
Yeah.
I praise every paranormal events team for going out there and giving it their all. The only advice that I personally, and this isn't even as running an events company, because I no longer run my events company. That will come out as to why eventually, but at the minute it's irrelevant.
No, you run one with me now.
Yeah, but it's different, and we have each other to bounce off now, as opposed to sole owner. But I take my hat off to anybody that's willing to give it a go. It is not easy to set up an events company. It is not easy to get a good reputation. All it takes is one bad review for loads of people to, well, just jump on the bandwagon, really, because once you've had one bad review, everybody else seems to want to put their 2 pennies worth in. And it's hard. It is so hard. I can't tell you the amount of times I've lost sleep over how an event's selling, or how am I actually going to get this event completely done, the startup. So the planning, the equipment check, everything is so difficult, and only people that have done it will truly understand how hard it really is.
It is difficult, and like you, I've lost many sleepless nights.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, Jo, you've been there too.
Yeah, it's, to be fair, I think what it is for me is when you put your heart and your soul into running an events company, and all the marketing that goes behind it, it is another full-time job in itself.
Yeah.
And it is a thankless job. It's like being a mother, isn't it? You don't get the thanks for it. You don't.
Exactly. Never. And I'll tell you who never do get the thanks for it: the staff.
No, definitely not. It is everything, like last year we held our Christmas party, didn't we? And we took our staff to, an all expenses paid bloody, Christmas do. And we had a great time, didn't we?
Oh, it was lethal.
I think we definitely need to be doing that again.
Oh, it was lethal. It really was. The hangover the next day was atrocious. But, that was just to say thank you. Thanks for being a great team. And I think everybody needs that. It doesn't matter what you do. Events company, event staff, paranormal investigator, medium, spiritualist, whatever you want to call yourself. We work damn hard.
Yeah, I think everybody does, though, don't they? They're like, it is hard work. And for anybody who goes into it thinking that it's an easy job, it definitely isn't. And we know that, don't we?
And if you think that you're going to get rich from it,
no chance.
Definitely think again. Yeah. I think I'm probably still about $2,500 out of pocket.
And the rest for me. I think it's, it's horrendous. We've sat there, and I've said to you before now, Gemma, how on earth are we going to, if we don't get any more guests, how are we going to foot the bill for this? And 9 times out of 10, I'm putting my hand in. Yeah. Putting the hand in the pockets, and it's like, okay,
I would, and I did exactly the same, with Afterlife Encounters. The deposit did not come out of the money for the event at all. I always paid the deposit. That was non and void straight away. So say the deposit's 250 quid, that's gone straight away. That's out of my own pocket.
Yeah, it's like anything though, isn't it?
You've got your snacks, your
tea,
drinks,
coffee, drinks, everything.
Juices, I mean, we've even been known to order pizzas in, haven't we?
Yep.
The expense of that, again, isn't something that comes out of the ticket prices. That is just little extras from us to say thank you so much for coming with us, and, have a great night.
So last year I run 2 events for the whole year because I was winding things down. changing things over from Trident to Phoenix.
Yeah, because you've had a massive change, haven't you?
I have, yeah, really big headache, just changing the whole format. And I run at a loss of last year on one event at £700.
Yeah.
That's how out of pocket I was on that one event.
Yeah, I've
But
lost.
I wasn't going to
stupid
cancel
amounts.
it because it was a big prison, and I was like, do you know what, I'm going.
You see, the problem is, though, if you cancel it, you then have people saying, well, don't bother booking with them.
Yeah,
What's the point? They'll only cancel anyway.
exactly. No,
You know, and this is what I'm
that.
saying. Sometimes it's not our fault. Sometimes it is
No.
location fault.
Indeed.
But the only way you know that is by speaking to the actual company.
Mhm. Yeah.
But it is
Totally
hard.
agree. It is. It's not an easy job at all.
And
It-
the cost of some of the locations is scandalous.
Very.
And the only reason the cost is so high is because it's been on TV.
Yep. We know to blame for that. Anyway.
We do, but swiftly moving on.
Do you know what, guys? We've actually run out of time.
Oh no!
We knew this would happen.
About this.
I know. We knew, didn't we, earlier on that this would be a show that would probably last a little bit longer than an hour. And
well, this topic can go on for hours and hours and hours, and especially when you get me on a tangent.
Yeah, it's but we know anyway, don't we? The cost of running an events company is high, and it's not for the faint-hearted, is it either? So
definitely not.
So we can catch up on, you might as well say the last bits, Gemma.
Okay, so thank you so much for listening in, guys. If you have missed any shows on the Parasearch Radio, just pop on over to YouTube. They are all on there. Don't forget, as Kerry would say, to click like, share and subscribe. So from me, it's good night, Jo.
And for me, it's good night,
Paul.
And good night, everybody.
Night, night.